Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your September 2016 mid-month readings. As, card just flew out. As you can see from my background, I am back at my home base after having been in Eastern Europe for the last month and doing my best to get back into the time zone, which can be kind of challenging. But as those of you who follow my channel know, I continued to post and work with clients while I was gone. So thank you so much for continuing to watch and listen and follow and subscribe to my channel. Your support and feedback and those awesome, brilliant comments are always so very welcome and appreciated. Please don't stop. You guys are awesome at it. Keep them coming. And thank you to my regular clients for continuing to keep me updated on how your readings are playing out predictively in your lives. And thank you to those of you who continue to reach out for personal one-on-one readings. It's a pleasure and an honor to read for you always. And I appreciate the trust that you place in me to interpret and intuit the cards for you. And if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, you can click on the little about sign on my YouTube channel's homepage, and that will give you a little more information and detail on myself, the services I offer, and my contact information, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I do readings full-time, so I'm able to get back with you pretty quickly and schedule a reading within a fairly timely fashion. Current turnaround time is anywhere from 3 to 4 days to up to about a week and a half or so. But I'll work with you as best as I can with your schedule in mind, depending on whether you want recorded or a live reading. So make sure to check your rising and your moon sign as well. These are general readings. If this is your primary sun sign, it may or may not resonate predictively for you, or you may find that each of your three signs, sun, moon, and rising, will resonate differently for you in different areas of your life. So just make sure to check all three. I am continuing to use the Gilded Tarot deck, and even though we're focusing more on the last half of the month than the month in its entirety, I'm still going to be using the same 8-card spread with an additional 9th card as your crowning card, overall energy and advice over the reading. So let's move right into this. This reading is for Pisces for September 2016 mid-month. The water sign of Pisces, Pisces 2016 mid-month. Pisces 2016 mid-month. What does the remainder of September 2016 hold for our lovely little fish, the water sign of Pisces? Pisces, September 2016 mid-month. Okay, we begin with the Page of Wands, followed by the Fool. Wow, lots of spontaneous energy there, Pisces, which would be kind of like you. Next we have the Seven of Wands, followed by the Seven of Swords. Then we have the Three of Pentacles, followed by the Eight of Pentacles. And at the end of the month, the Four of Pentacles, followed by the King of Swords in reverse. From the bottom of the deck, your overall energy and advice is the Wheel of Fortune in the upright. Oh, it's going to be just fine, Pisces. Let's just take a quick look here. Interesting reading. I've only done a few of the mid-month signs so far, and I don't know if it's the Mercury in retrograde thing because I'm not an astrologer, even though I know the basics of it. But there seems to be, for the mid-month reading so far, a fair amount of conflictive energy. So let's begin. Pisces, we find ourselves in the middle of September 2016 with the Page of Wands, followed by the Fool, my favorite card in the entire tarot deck. So the Page of Wands. Wands is a suit that's governed by the energy of fire. So it's a very fiery, energetic, active, action-oriented, forward-moving kind of suit. It's all about change, movement, action, power, creating, building, manifesting. Pages represent the youngest and least mature energies of the tarot, we all kind of begin at pages in our maturity and evolutionary process, and we progress through the different, knights, queens, kings. Pages can also represent messages and messengers. So for some of you, this could represent a young person or an actual child in your life, and if that's the case, for those of you for whom that resonates, it's the Page of Wands. So it could be a fire sign, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, and they're a pretty feisty, fiery young person or child, but they would also be very creative and very passionate too, probably very artistic as well. For others of you, this Page of Wands is going to resonate as a message, but again, it's going to be a message that's very fiery, very passionate, very active kind of message, one that's exciting and enthusiastic. Now, that energy is kind of perfectly paired with the card that accompanies it, which is the Major Arcana card of the Fool. I love this card, my favorite card. Major Arcana cards, so fingers of the divine, as I like to call them, they represent those divine energies, external energies, coming in to help affect changes in our lives or give us significant advice. The Fool represents that, the Fool is kind of the Carpe Diem card. The Fool is here to remind us that while it's good and proper and appropriate to have a destination, to set your goals and to work towards those goals, the Fool would tell you that the actual joy and value and the most important lessons that we learn are actually on the journey itself, in each step of the journey that we take, and not in being so destination or goal focused and oriented. The Fool is all about that Carpe Diem, stop and smell the roses, enjoy every step of the journey and learn from every step of the journey. The Fool is also here to remind us that it is perfectly all right and sometimes even necessary to step outside of our comfort zone and take a bit of a risk. Do something different. Now, paired with the Page of Wands, I have to say, there is a bit of cautionary advice here. This is an awful lot of exuberant, spontaneous, combustible sort of energy. We've got this young fire energy paired with the Fool, who's just off on his merry way. So however this plays out for you guys, Pisces, I mean, you're a water sign, but you tend to be quite fluid and mercurial yourself. So there is the risk with this combination of cards and combination of energies of just kind of like jumping off a cliff, going willy-nilly, and being a little too irresponsible and spontaneous, or a lot too irresponsible and spontaneous. So just try and keep it reined in just a little bit. You do have that crowning card of the Wheel of Fortune in the upright, so I think things are going to turn out really well for you, in probably a pretty unexpected kind of way. But just kind of try and corral some of that energy. We want to make sure there's water in the pool before we jump. So following that, here's where the conflictive energy comes in. We have the Seven of Wands paired with the Seven of Swords. Let me get my notes out of the way here. So we have two sevens together. Sevens are a number that represent reflection, assessment, sometimes re-strategizing. But there's some conflictive, I'm almost feeling like the number 5, conflictive energy here too, with conflict with other people. But we have two sevens together. Two sevens are about reflection and assessment, re-strategizing, taking another look at something, perhaps trying to look at it from a different perspective. There's some defensive energy here too, because it looks like there may be somebody around you, and I actually feel like it's connected to this King of Swords in reverse at the end, that's not all they say they are, or are not who they are presenting themselves to be, in an exploitative kind of taking advantage of you kind of way. So again, you'll really want to be cautious of that initial Page of Wands and Fool energy, because it feels like some of you may be talked into or attempted to talk into doing something completely risky or spontaneous in an irresponsible kind of way. So just kind of watch that. This combination of the Seven of Wands and the Seven of Swords. So the Seven of Wands, again, more of that fiery energy. The Seven of Wands is a defensive card. It can be a card of being too defensive. It's primarily a card of standing by, protecting, guarding something you feel very strongly in, or standing up for something you feel very strongly in, or it could be an actual thing, a relationship, a person, an ideal, belief system, etc. You can see this man is standing in front of the door to his home, his castle, his keep, again, whatever it symbolizes for you, but it's something that you feel very strongly about, something you feel very that you need to protect and defend and guard because of how much you have of yourself invested in it. He feels it's being threatened or challenged somehow by these 7 wands. So again, defensive energy, guarding, protecting, standing by something or someone that you feel very strongly about because of how much of yourself you've invested in it, whether that's just emotionally or physically, financially, resources, etc. Why? Well, it's accompanied by the 7 of Swords, so which is often referred to as the Thief card, as you can kind of plainly see from the picture on the card. So swords, the suit of swords is governed by the element of air. So swords is about that airy, intangible world of what goes on up in our heads. It's a mental, cerebral, and intellectual suit. It doesn't have a lot of emotion attached to it. It's about words, ideas, how we think, how we see things, outlooks, perspectives. Again, mental, cerebral, intellectual energy governed by air. The 7 of Swords is often referred to as the Thief card. You can see that on the front of this card, which is the Gilded Tarot deck, it actually shows a man who's broken into somebody's house in broad daylight too, I might add. So this might be somebody doing this in a very overt sort of way. He's broken into somebody's house in the middle of the day and he's taken a bunch of their property as symbolized by these swords. Now he hasn't taken everything because he wasn't able to take everything. He had to leave some stuff behind, but he's taken quite a bit. And he's stopping in the doorway and he's pausing to look over his shoulder with this sneaky kind of smarmy look on his face as if to say, look what I'm getting away with in broad daylight. This can be a card of actually being stolen from in a very physical, tangible way, like money, property, resources, etc. It can represent being exploited or taken advantage of in other ways or in addition to that. It can represent somebody being sneaky, somebody being secretive, things being hidden. It can represent somebody who is not what they appear to be or not what they present themselves to be for the purposes of exploiting or taking advantage of in some way. It can feel, the energy can feel like you're being exploited or taken advantage of or constantly given or being taken from without getting anything in return. And this is where this defensive or stand up for, stand by, or protect something is coming from. And again, falling right behind this very spontaneous, almost childlike, enthusiastic energy. You want to be very careful for some of you if somebody's trying to talk you into something that sounds really great, whether it's a business deal or some other kind of financial deal or a relationship of some kind, however it plays out for you, Virgo. You'll want to be very cautious of that energy and very cautious of if it's being presented or if this is concerning a specific person. Be cautious of that specific person. Make sure you do your homework and don't get carried away with all the fire, energy, enthusiasm, and excitement and what something or someone may appear to be. Now, right next to that, we have this work energy and compromise energy coming in. We have the 3 of Pentacles paired with the 8 of Pentacles. So, the 3 of Pentacles. Pentacles is governed by the element of earth. So the suit of Pentacles is about that earthy, physical, tangible, material world. It can often point to things like money, finances, resources, property, job, etc. Physical, tangible things we can see and touch and feel. You can always apply that same energy to areas of spirituality and love and relationships. It's tangible energy. It's tangible result of the effort we put into something. The 3 of Pentacles is the Master Craftsman card. It's also can be a card of compromise and negotiation. It's not a card of being singled out or personal recognition. It's a card of working with other people. I sometimes see this card come up when people have to work within a group of people that maybe they would not have chosen to work with, but have to, and so they're making the best of a situation. Compromise and negotiation, it's about more than one person working together and trying to for a common cause, or trying to come to a common agreement on something. Now, it's paired with the Eight of Pentacles, which I often refer to as the worker bee card, because it represents work, hard work, but successful work. The slow, steady, successful building up of the solid and successful foundation for something. As you can see, this man is at his desk. He's working on the Eighth Pentacle, and the other 7 that he's worked on are kind of dancing above his head. He's putting just as much attention, dedication, and detail into the 8th one as he likely put into the other 7. You can see that the sun is setting. It's getting dark. He's already lit his candles. Perhaps some of you are burning the candles at both ends. Everybody else has gone home, but he's still at his desk working because he has something that he believes in. He has a vision, a goal, something he's working towards. He's building up a foundation for something. He's very dedicated, and it's about diligence and perseverance and being detail-oriented at what you're doing and at what you're good at. And paired with the Three of Pentacles, this defensive energy and the Seven of Swords energy, it could be that you're having to work with somebody, or you're having to compromise and negotiate or work out something with somebody else or with a group of people that you don't particularly care for, that you feel kind of manifest the energy of this kind of thief or slippery energy of the Seven of Swords. This could be a legal issue for some of you. It could be a project or job or career oriented for some of you. I feel like for a lot of you, it's tangible. What the issue is, of course, it's going to play out differently for specifics, but I feel like it's more centered around that Pentacles energy, job, career, finances, property, some kind of deal or tangible project kind of energy. Again, I caution you about that energy. I love the energy of the Page of Wands and the Fool, but it feels a little almost frenetic, scattered, and not focused enough. So again, just watch that, particularly if those of you are working with somebody else or working with a group of people on some kind of deal or something. Just make sure that everything is as it appears to be. For some of you, it is. You're just having to work with somebody or within a group of people, or work something out with people that may be kind of difficult, getting everybody on the same page. It feels like a lot of work. I do, again, feel some conflictive energy. And for some of you, it is going to represent that there is somebody in your sphere who is perhaps wanting to take advantage of you. This could be somebody that already has. This could be something that's already occurred and you're dealing with it now. And I feel like it's this King of Swords in reverse, which is where we're coming to our last combination of cards here at or towards the end of September 2016, or going into October, time being fluid, of course. We have the combination of the Four of Pentacles, followed by the King of Swords in reverse. So the Four of Pentacles, fours can be a card of stability. When you think of 4 pillars, 4 posts, it's the most stable foundation upon which to build something. It can also represent stagnancy, but I feel like that's more in the reverse position than anything else. It can represent holding on to what you've built up already, or the foundation that you've built up already. Sometimes it can represent holding on a little too tightly. I sometimes see this card come up with people who have lost quite a bit in their lives or had a lot taken away from them, and they hold on very tightly to what they have or what they have left, and sometimes too tightly, to being too guarded and too closed off emotionally as well, just because of history of the past. But it can represent also successfully holding on to a foundation that you've built. It really just kind of depends on who you are, because it's a general reading and there's lots of you watching and everybody has different lives. So now that Four of Pentacles is paired with the King of Swords in reverse, which I do not like seeing. Kings and queens represent individuals. Sometimes they represent just the energy. Sometimes court cards can represent just the energy of the person or character traits of the person that's displayed. But they do often represent actual people. And kings and queens represent people who have reached the master of their suit or the top of their game, whatever the energies and the character traits of their suit are. And the King of Swords in the upright position, because remember, swords is all about words, thoughts, ideas. The King of Swords in the upright position would represent somebody, probably a man, not necessarily, because again, this is general reading, but it could be a woman. But he would be somebody very intelligent, maybe somebody very well educated, somebody who's a very mental, cerebral sort of person, someone who's very thoughtful. He doesn't tend thoughtful in terms of he thinks things through very carefully and weighs things out very carefully before he makes a decision or takes any action, because he's the King of Swords. He's a very mental, cerebral person. He thinks things through, outcomes, consequences, etc. He's fairly impartial, sometimes can come across as emotionally detached. Doesn't necessarily have to be, that's just his presentation. We all know people like this. It could be an actual air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. Good source of advice and feedback, always one to give you an honest, clear opinion, a truth seeker, a fact gatherer, somebody who's very into learning and information. So, in the upright position. But you got it in the reverse position, which I don't like seeing the King or Queen of Swords in the reverse position, because it represents somebody who's, well, kind of on the opposite end of all the positive, those positive character aspects. You take them to their negative side, and it's kind of about exploitation, particularly being manipulative, particularly with thoughts and emotions, but very good at it too, because they're so smart. This can also represent somebody who's just emotionally completely unavailable, or somebody who's emotionally cruel, or even sadistic in some ways. So in the reverse position, it's paired with the Four of Pentacles. So for some of you, and this is where it gets kind of interesting and it could be a little confusing. For some of you, this could represent that this defensive energy and this secrecy, or perhaps not everything not being as it seems. I feel like the source is this King of Swords. I can't help but see a thread connected between the two of them. And what you may be forced to kind of work with him, or or try to come to a compromise or agreement with him, and it's just very hard going. And I mean, this Four of Pentacles paired with him could represent that he's a person who's holding on very tightly, very closed off, very guarded, and it's very difficult to work with him. If it's a legal situation, he could be the other person in this legal situation, and again, same deal, very difficult to work with, but it's about trying to come to a common goal, a common meeting of the mind to agree on something. It looks like there's a lot of defensiveness and a lot of holding on and being kind of guarded and shut down. So, however, you do have as your crowning card, I feel like everything is going to work out fine for you, though. We do have that lovely energy, and I think that some of that in moderation is going to benefit you. Your overall crowning card is beautiful. It's a major arcana card of the Wheel of Fortune in the upright position. Stroke of good luck, stroke of good fortune coming out of nowhere, maybe from an unexpected source, in an unexpected way, from an unexpected person, that I feel is going to actually make the difference in this, because it looks like for a time, particularly maybe in the third week or so of the month, it looks very challenging, like it's very hard going and working something out with someone or a group of someone's. And if it's a group of someone's, I think this King of Swords in the reverse is kind of in the middle of it. There's a lot of defensiveness and a lot of being guarded, maybe shut down, holding on too tightly, not willing to compromise and negotiate. But I feel like something's going to come out of nowhere. Your crowning card is the Wheel of Fortune. It's going to work out, I believe, in your favor. It just looks like it's a bit tough going for a while. And this King of Swords may make it difficult for you all the way through, but it doesn't change the energy of the Wheel of Fortune for you. Stroke of good luck, stroke of good fortune. Also divine timing and orchestration, things playing out as they're meant to be, and also God's spirit, angels, and guides coming in to help orchestrate an effect that will be, in the end, positive for you, Pisces. So very interesting reading, somewhat complex. You'll have to let me know how this plays out for you, for those of you for whom it does play out in a predictive sort of way. I'd be curious to see how the story kind of splits off in different ways for people, so let me know about that. And Pisces, I hope you've enjoyed this reading. I hope you've at least found it useful and that it's brought you some clarity and insight. And again, if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading, you can click on the About sign for my contact information, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be just delighted to work with you and your situation and whatever you are seeking advice in. And I will see you all in a couple of weeks for the October 2016 general readings. Can you believe it's October already? And until then, Pisces, thank you so very much for watching. And as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. See you later.